What's up? It's Pete McCarthy here for OddsShopper as we look at no house advantage and playing versus the house. Hey, give us a like. Keep up with all of our shows, our DFS offers, our giveaways. Once you do subscribe, hit that notification button. That's going to give you alerts when our shows go live. Hey, and on this Thursday, of course, there's no Thursday night football, so NBA is king when you're looking at versus the house. You can also mix in some golf now as well, so feel free to mix that in. But have some NBA picks for you on this four-game slate. Two big games, right? The Celtics taking on the Mavericks. That should be exciting to see Luka Doncic going up against this Boston team, and we'll have some Mavericks that we'll talk about here. And then the Clippers Nuggets, another good game as well. That's where we will begin with Nikola Jokic. 27.5 points is the line if you want to go versus the house at no house advantage. Looking at the under here, we project him at Stochastic for about 25 points tonight. 60% chance of hitting the under on the points. 60% always my line of demarcation when looking at these props at no house advantage based on our projections at Stochastic, which are free. But one thing I like, if you look at, say, OddsShopper and just shop around and see, hey, what's the line looking like for Nikola Jokic at the sports books? You can find this line elsewhere at 26.5, another point down. So it gives you a little more confidence in the projection that we have and looking at the under here as Jokic deals with the Clippers. Now, look, he's been under in 3 of his past 5 games. It's a little bit, right? That's on that 60% clip. His playing time's been down a little bit as well, 33 minutes or less in 3 of his last 4. Maybe not a big factor tonight, being that the Nuggets have had a couple of days off in a row. But, you look at the projection, you look at what you see on OddsShopper, you see some unders there for Nikola Jokic. So we're going to jump on that with the projection having him at just 25. And as I mentioned, those are free. You can check him out, stochastic.com. It's one of the first things that I do every day, just to look at what's happening, whether you're looking at no house advantage versus the house or looking at various props for sports books, whatever it is that you're looking to play. It really gives you a good idea. And for no house advantage, it breaks it down very easily for you as far as what the numbers are that are up on no house advantage at that moment and how they jive with Stochastic's projections. So check that out. You go to stochastic.com, NBA, and you'll see free tools, and then you go to no house advantage. If you haven't played on no house advantage, take advantage of their $100 deposit match. So when you sign up, when you deposit $100, they'll give you another $100 to play with. So you have $200 to play with. We like that math. So be sure to check that out. And a couple of things that make no house advantage unique. One being when you play versus the house, you can put 5 props together. You hit all 5 of them, you get 20 times your entry, which is just not something you're going to find elsewhere. The other aspect of it is in the pick'em contest. Something that you notice is there's just a lot of overlay there. Last night, another night with a lot of overlay. I didn't see exactly where it ended up, but some of the contests were about half full, and you get in there, it means more money is going to the players than is going back to the site. That's always a good thing if you're playing. You always want to take advantage of overlay, and there is quite a bit of it typically at no house advantage. So something I like to do is always check in 10 to 15 minutes before lock and just take a look at, hey, what's the overlay like tonight? It's very easy to put together lineups quickly using our free tools at stochastic.com, whether that be putting them in manually by looking at our projections or using the optimal lineups that we post that you could download into an Excel file and then load right in and mass multi-enter on these contests at no house advantage. So a couple ways to take advantage of that. Let's get into Lauri Markkanen next to the Utah Jazz. 27.5 points is the line. Looking at the under once again. This is one that, again, you go to OddsShopper, you look at what the sports books are doing, you're going to see this at 26.5 at even money elsewhere. So 63% chance of the under. We like all of that. It's been a rough go for the Jazz of late, losing 5 straight. If you really like the recent trends, something that I do like to look at, you're not going to like this play. Markkanen has actually performed well during this losing streak for the Jazz. He scored at least 28 points in his last 5 games. It's not exactly a tough opponent in the Houston Rockets. Really, the question would be how much do the Jazz win by if they could return to form from earlier in the season? And, how long is Markkanen playing in this game? But being that, again, the projections are under, We've got the sports books looking at under the number that's posted on No House Advantage right now as well. A couple things that you got to like as far as this play goes. As far as the Mavericks go, again, a lot of unders that we're looking at. Reggie Bullock, 6.5 points, projected for 6.2. Is it a monster under? No, it's actually 58%, so it's below the 60% that I'm typically looking at. But for Bullock, I mean, come on, last game against Houston, he played 41 minutes. He scored 8 points, so he's technically an over with that game, but we're not expecting that kind of playing time again. Again, you could consult OddsShopper. You see some juice on the under here for Reggie Bullock, so I think that's a number we can get under as well. And something I like to do, and this is why I included Bullock, is because Luka Doncic, I like the under as far as his assist total goes. I mean, you get some things that correlate, and the NBA isn't going to correlate as much as some other sports out there. But if you can get some unders here, right? Under on the points for Bullock, under on the assists for Doncic. It's not as if a ton of assists for Doncic are going to a guy when the over-under on his point total is 6.5, but there's a little bit that we could take from that. And, you know, with Doncic, we project him 8.1 assists tonight versus the 8.5 line. Again, consult OddsShopper, some juice on the under at 8.5. So I feel comfortable with that. Again, recent history, you're not going to love this play for Doncic. He was under last game against Houston, only 8 assists, but he had been at 9 or more in the previous 6. So again, this isn't a night where I love all of these plays and that you want to go ahead and have a big night. I'll tell you when those nights are. I saw some yesterday that I talked about that I really liked. This one, everything's a little tighter, as you can see, and we're talking about, 60% here, 64% here. The recent trends aren't really in favor of it, but I think you do have some playable lines here, and if you are going to play, I like linking some things together. Say, hey, maybe the Mavericks don't have as many possessions as you might expect. Maybe they have a really tough time with this Boston defense. They're not scoring a ton of points. You can go under on Doncic, under on Bullock. A little different are our projections like Christian Wood over on the rebounds. I'm not going to throw the one out there. I generally don't like playing the rebounds, particularly the overs, but you could look at some of these things, try to piece them together so that, hey, if the game breaks in this way, you could hit both and have that come together, because you got to hit all 5 if you are playing for 5 out of 5 at No House Advantage. Mention OddsShopper a couple of times. Be sure to use that as a regular tool, even if you're not just playing on No House Advantage. It's going to give you the best odds that you can find out there. So if you're playing at multiple sports books, you can go to the correct sports book where maybe the line is a little bit more in your favor. Maybe the juice is a little bit more in your favor. It's going to display it all for you and give you the best place to play to get the best bang for your buck. I'm Pete McCarthy. Good luck to that.